had to do the run a little bit later. Don't know we're celebrating the life of Jesse Jackson. That's going to happen all weekend. Today was a start. It was over a 5 hour celebration. It was well worth it, I must say. Well worth it for a man who dedicated his whole life, 60 years of his life, you know, 60 years of his life to a cause, to a belief, to a whole community, a whole people. He dedicated his whole life. And a lot of people have come off that Jesse Jackson tree, who we know of today. I mean, in my opinion, I think they should have did that in Washington, D.C. They should have gave him the highest honors. And that's what I think, because of what he did. He had to start at a young age. I think he was 17, 18 years old. He was really young when that happened, maybe in his 20s, but he was really young when that happened to Dr. King. And he had to really take a whole community that was at the time when that happened, a whole community that was mourning and didn't know where to go didn't know where to turn because Dr. King, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, was, the head leader of basically every church, every community, and all over the black community. That's just what it was at that particular time. And when that happened, it was just, somebody had to step in and take the throne. Little did we know, as we know now, it would have been Jesse Jackson, who was well diverse and well up to the challenge on the mission that Dr. King gave him and the mission that they put out to not only grow the community, but a whole group of people, and take it to the next level with economics and hard work and dedication, as we talk about all the time. And he basically knocked the doors down for us as investors, or whatever the case may be, to be able to do, especially in the black community, to get us to be able to do what we're doing right now here to this day. He's the one that broke the doors down so Obama could be the president, whether you like him or not. As far as Obama goes, you don't like, what he did when he got in there. That's a whole nother subject for a whole nother live. But today we are celebrating the life of Jesse Jackson and what he meant and what he put down. He basically gave up his whole life, Chad. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know, Jesse Jackson was a hell of an athlete. He could have went and became a professional athlete or whatever else he wanted to do, but he had a bigger cause, and he had to take what Dr. Martin Luther King, his vision, and put it down, because he understood at a young age that it was a big task. He had to put a whole community on his shoulders, and guess what? That's exactly what he did. But the thing is, Chad, is that those guys that was there today, they have to read and go back to the past and the teachers of Jesse Jackson. Roland Martin, who else? Al Sharpton, and all these guys that are his mentees, his students. They got to go back to what Dr. King, and I'm hoping that they go back to what Dr. King taught them. Not just Dr. King, but Jesse Jackson taught them, as far as economics, empowerment, building one another up. It don't matter where you come from. You can go from food stamps to Wall Street. It's all depending on you, because you are somebody. The message, you are somebody. And once you realize you are somebody, and you put it in your heart, and you put it in your soul, and you put it in your head, guess what? And you put the work in, which is more important. Yes, you are somebody. 5336. Appreciate all y'all for joining me in the chat. I am your host, the one and only Stock Sniper. We need more likes, because today is a day of celebration. It's a day of calibration and rethinking and reorganizing. And I'm praying to God that that's what they're going to do. Because right now, they're in shambles, Chad. And they need Jesse Jackson, and they got to remember where they came from. I'm starting to believe that a lot of those guys have forgot where they came from. But hopefully today, this whole month that we've been celebrating the great Jesse Jackson, I'm hoping that those guys, starting with Al Sharpton, he get it together and understand that he got to start back to the roots of talking about economic development, economic empowerment, growth and development, education. Got to go back to the roots, and you got to go back to those old teachings. And I hope that this revives a whole new group of leaders. As those guys are left, there's it's a lot of stress on their shoulders as well, because they know that everybody's watching them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be honest with you, the way Reverend Al Sharpton and them been talking for the last few years, that's not what Jesse Jackson was about, guys. Jesse Jackson was about economics, empowerment, investing, growing, and using that to empower people of all ages, of all races, of all forms of life. That's what he was about. Growing and developing. He understood in economics and the power of investing and teaching and learning and working and growing. You know what I'm saying? That was very, very powerful. And we have to make that the main foundation. It has to be the main foundation of what's going on, chat. And that's what we got to get back to. As on the ground level, as I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, we got 200 people in the building. Hello, chat. I came from my mama's womb. Yes, you did. Mark, Preston, hello, hey, how y'all doing? Ricky Ward, appreciate you, thank you. Appreciate y'all for coming and rocking with me. We're all tadpoles alike. Yeah, but we need to grow. You know what I'm saying? Especially right now, with everything's going on, chat. It's a lot going on, but we got to stay grounded. We got to think about education. Each one teach one, and putting the work in. That's what it's all about, chat. Each one teach one, put the work in, one person at a time. Because guess what? It's we the people. We can't worry about stuff that really don't matter, man. We got to focus on that. We can't worry about stuff that really don't matter, man. They had a great service for the great Jesse Jackson. A lot of good speakers, chat. A lot of guys, a lot of millionaires, billionaires, telling their story about how Jesse Jackson gave them the game, how Jesse Jackson not only taught them, but instilled in them of what they're doing today. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's what we got to get back to. We have to get back to that. So I challenge all y'all out there right now. If you don't know anything about Jesse Jackson, we got the ultimate library in our hand. What is that, Stock Sniper? The ultimate library is this phone. All you got to do is go look it up. Go listen to some of those old teachings. Go look up when Donald Trump and Jesse Jackson was good friends. Go look it up. Go look at how Donald Trump interacted with Jesse Jackson. It's all the teaching lesson, guys. For all y'all that don't understand, just look up and see how Jesse Jackson was with all different groups and races of people. Even Donald Trump. Donald Trump spoke highly of Jesse Jackson. They were good friends. He understood who Jesse Jackson was as a human being and as a man, and how he was a strong man. Because just think about it, chat. He was a young guy when that happened to Dr. Martin Luther King in that hotel in Memphis, Tennessee. Jesse Jackson was right there, and he didn't understand what he had to do, but all he knew is that he had to pull up his pants. He had to grow up. He had to grow, and he had to right then at that second, he realized he had to growth and development at all costs. He had to do that because he understood that a whole group of people was counting on somebody to come and let a whole community know and guide a whole community. And guess just that he did. He took a whole community from the streets of MLK, from the streets out there in Chicago, from the streets all over the world. He took it from the streets to Wall Street. And that's a great thing. He taught a whole community. He didn't even, y'all hear the stories. He wasn't financial literate. If you look at my short that's dropping tonight, he was not financial literate. He was not at all. But guess what? He knew how to communicate with people. And he knew that once he get around the right group of people, they will do what? Put him in the door. They would put him in the door that we could get in those rooms to have the conversations that we were having and doing right now today, guys. Right now today, and the things that we do today, the great Jesse Jackson kicked down those doors. He basically gave up his whole life for the people. That's what he did. He gave up his whole life for the people. Anybody that's from Chicago, especially if you older, you already know. You already know what it is. You know, Jesse Jackson laid it all down on the line for us, guys. Even though just think about it like this, chat. Hello from Sweden. Hello, what's up, Sweden? Trump 2028. Communist, punk, hello. Okay, we all reading all these comments. Thank y'all for commenting. I appreciate everybody that rode with me for the whole 5 hours today, chat. I appreciate y'all. Even though we doing this walk down late, you know what I'm saying? Usually we do this at 2 o'clock. But today, this weekend is a special weekend. It should make all of us reflect and think, you know what I'm saying? Get level-headed and think and go back and look at those old teachings by Jesse Jackson. It make you think about things, make you understand about growth and development. It makes you understand about going from nothing into something, because guess what? You are somebody. If you're on food stamps, you are somebody. If you're in prison right now, you got to know that you are somebody. And wherever you at in life, if you could be in the junkie, you could be in the trap house. You got to understand you are somebody. And once you put that in your head, I am somebody, and it goes into your subconscious mind, guess what's going to happen? You're going to start changing some things. You know what I'm saying? Because once you realize you are somebody, and then you start getting a sense of growth and development and understanding, and then you start hanging around the right people. You know what I'm saying? And then you understand that you got to put the work in. Why? Because you are somebody. I don't care what you're going through right now. I don't care. Once you start saying, look, I'm tired of being sick and tired, and I am somebody. I am somebody. That's all you got to say. And you keep saying it every single day. You can come out, put the work in, whatever the case may be. I am somebody. On the outside gym, walking and working out, I am somebody. And guess what? Once you put that in your head, and you put that in your subconscious mind, and you put the work in, and every single day you work, and you hang around the right people, you know what I'm saying, and you do what you're supposed to do, and you do what I say all the time on this channel. You find something that you love to do, and then you master it, and then you do what Jesse Jackson did for over 40 years. What was that, Stock Sniper? He found out what he loved to do, and he mastered it. And then what he did, he told everybody. That's what he did. That's what he did. A lot of people have learned from the late, great Jesse Jackson. We got to understand that, chat. And that's what we need. We need more leaders, guys. We need more leaders. We need more stand-up men and women. That's what we need to push it forward, to go to the next level. We can't be worrying about no bullshit and bubblegum, man. I say that all the time. You got to quit worrying about bullshit and bubblegum. You have to worry about what really matters. And the only thing that matters is growth and development. That's what matters. And teaching it to other people and waking up other people. That's what really matters, chat. That's what matters. Awesome. Johnny Lynch, awesome. Joseph Johnson, yes. Jesse Jackson died? Yeah, he died. And that's another thing, chat. That's what a lot of people don't know. And that's sad, bro. All our kids and grandkids, everybody in every walk of life need to know the history of Jesse Jackson. That's why they've been telling us that they're trying to erase history. They're trying to erase the great people that had what? Growth and development, and also they cared about people. It's more than them, it's more than about growth and development. It's about caring about other people. That's what it's all about. And what we know about Jesse Jackson, if you don't know, I'm about to tell you right now. Jesse Jackson was an excellent football player. He could have went to the NFL. You know, he could have did anything in life. But guess what he chose to do? He chose to be on the ground with his people and work with Martin Luther King and push the agenda. And that's the reason why we able to do the things that we do right now. He is. And it really affects me that they didn't have Jesse Jackson's funeral in the rotunda. You know, because he is, I ain't gonna say was, because Jesse Jackson is still with us right now. He is an icon, a civil rights icon. You know, he is. You know what I'm saying? And they should have, and big as he was, you know what I'm saying? Big as he is, they should have did just do and had that man celebration in the rotunda down there in Washington, D.C. That's what they needed to do. Whenever he passed, you know, and went on to meet God, they should have made all these flags half staff like they did Charlie Kirk, bro. Yeah, I said it. They should, when Jesse Jackson passed, They should have had all these flags around here at half staff like they did Charlie Kirk. And I think that right there, it's not nothing to be mad about. It's not nothing to be upset about. It's not to be, nothing to be complaining about. But it should make you want to do what? Put more of the work in. Because guess what? We're closer than ever before, chat. We're closer than ever before. Why you say that, Stock Sniper? Because you got dudes that's been on welfare. Dudes that's on the block right now on MLK. You know what they're doing? They're trading stocks. They are trading stocks. In other words, Wall Street is on MLK right now, chat. Wall Street and the development of the internet have made it possible for guys on the block, instead of doing petty hustling, they can learn about the stock market. They can learn about investing. They can learn about different certain things. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we got to focus on. You got to take all that bitterness and all that woulda, coulda, shoulda, and all that they did us like this or they did us like that. You got to get over that and use that as what? As motivation. You got to use that as motivation to move forward for you and your family. That's what you got to do, chat. As we got 121 people in the chat. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. We had a long celebration of Jesse Jackson today, man. And it was great. I must admit, it was great. I can pick out a lot of negative things out of it, but this is not the negative channel. It's not. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing we got to practice doing, chat. Stop looking at the negative things. We got to stop doing that. You got to look at the good things. What can you learn from the situation? What can you take out of the situation? We can't always look at things and always look for the wrong. We can't always look for the bad things. There's going to be a lot of people that try to analyze an icon's life. But guess what? You cannot focus on the bad, especially when the good outweighs the bad. And we got to understand that as we celebrate Jesse Jackson in the most lovely way. Yeah, in the most lovely way. But it's our job is not to just celebrate the life, but it's our job. Tomorrow, Stock Sniper got to do what Stock Sniper got to do. I got to educate myself more. You know what I'm saying? I got to dedicate. I got to get more laser focused and understand. I got to go back and read some things. I got to go back and study, and then I got to come back and teach it to the people on the ground, and then come on the internet. Because why? Because I can reach more people on the internet. You know what I'm saying? I got to take that blueprint and bring it on this internet and do it every single day. You know, every single day, every single week, every single month for the next 15, 20 years. That's my goal, chat. That's the goal. You know what I'm saying? And that should be everybody else's goal on this live. That's the only way. That's the only way America's going to come together, chat. That's the only way the world is going to come together. Is we got to have a common goal and a common mission. You do your mission where you at. I do mine where I'm at. And then we come together and meet each other at the end of the road, at the end of the rainbow. Because guess what? Your pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow. We got to understand that. And that's what we got to understand, chat. That's what we got to understand. We got 118 people. We got 118 people in the building. And I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. 18 minutes. If we don't know our history, it is bonded to repeat itself. Yeah, you got to know and you got to grow. You got to build on it. And you got to use it as motivation. You got to use it as motivation. And then you got to put the work in. You got to understand the assignment. Then you got to put the work in. And then once you put the work in, you can start waking up other people. That's what it is. We all must put in the work. We all must pick up with Jesse Jackson and all his great students left off at, and we got to take it, and we got to take it to the next level. I just pray, because a lot of those guys, in my opinion, chat, a lot of those guys have changed the mission, right? If you really know how they act right now, I'm talking about the Democratic Party, how they act right now is totally different than the Jesse Jackson days. You got to go back and you got to research and you got to really dive in and learn about the Democratic Party back when Jesse Jackson and all those guys were there. And you will start to see an alliance. I ain't gonna tell you what it is, but you'll start to see some similarities, right? You'll start seeing some similarities, and then you'll start to wake up and say, well, hey, these guys don't act like that. That's all you gotta do. Go take the time out and go look at Jesse Jackson's old videos for about 30 days, and then think about it. And then you'll understand what I talk about every single day on this channel. You'll understand it. The Democrats ain't the same no more. But maybe, and I'm praying to God that with the celebration of Jesse Jackson, that those guys come back down to the foundation. I hope they come back down to the foundation and then start back and pick it up and do what Jesse Jackson wanted them to do before he lost, his health, you right? Because Jesse Jackson ain't really been healthy in probably about 15 years. But I challenge each and every person, especially younger guys. If you don't know who Jesse Jackson is, if you don't know that we're celebrating the great Jesse Jackson, and you vote, and you're the ones that always going back and forth about red and blue, I challenge you, go back and study Jesse Jackson and go study the Democratic Party in that era. And then compare it to the Democratic Party in this era right now. And you'll get a clear understanding. I don't have time enough today to go into all of that because it's been a long day. But all you gotta do is go check it out and then understand. A lot of people don't know Donald Trump used to be a Democrat. Donald Trump was a Jesse Jackson supporter. Donald Trump wanted Jesse Jackson to be the president in 84 and 88. So we got to understand it. We got to know. We got to understand it. A lot of things, guys, is done because of politics, right? But then you got to sit and you got to analyze it. And you got to, don't get in your feelings and don't get too emotional about a certain person or what. You got to study. You know what I'm saying? You got to study and you got to come outside and you got to put the work in, and then you can analyze the situation, and then you be like, hey, something changed. It ain't the same no more. My thoughts and my alignment is more of with this side. We got to try to change some things. But I pray to God. I pray to God that Reverend Al Sharpton and all those guys go back to their roots and go back. I hope they go back and go study some of Jesse Jackson's teachings. But they probably ain't got to study because they was around him, like they knew him personally. So I don't know what happened, but they need to get back to what they were. I want to hear Reverend Al Sharpton talk more about building, economics, family structure. I want him to start talking about that. You know what I'm saying? I want him to lean more towards that. And so we got to understand. That's what I want him to do. That's what I want him to do. And that's what I want. That right there would be an amazing thing. Because we need it right now. I agree, Gotti. What Gotti said, I'm from the Americas and I'm not African American. Well, you don't have to be black or African American. That's the one thing about Jesse Jackson. He didn't discriminate. This is not about black. This is not about white. It's not about none of that. It's about we the people. That's what it's about. That's what we got to understand. That's what it's about. It's about us as Americans. It's about us as human beings. It's about what's right and what's wrong. That's what it's about, chat. And that's what we got to understand. We got to understand that. And we got to understand it as we the people. That's what we got to understand. That's what we got to understand, chat. That's what we got to understand. Because it's each one teach one. It's each one teach one. When you start talking about color and race and all this here, that is a divider's mechanism. meaning that that's just used to divide and conquer. But guess what? It's 2026, guys. It's 2026. You know, it's all about right and wrong right now. It's about what's right and what's wrong. That's it. That's all it is. What's right and what's wrong. What side do you want to be on? You want to be on the right side, good and evil. You want to be on the good side or you want to be on the evil side? Ain't no straddling the fence. You can't straddle the fence. You can only be, you only can be good or you can be evil. That's it. It ain't no Democrat, Republican. It ain't no white, black, whatever. It's either you good or you bad in 2026 and beyond. And that's what we got to understand. And you got to know history. And you got to be able to put the work in. That's what you got to understand too. And you got to teach it to your kids and grandkids. And you got to pay attention to who's in your circle. You got to pay attention to who your kids are around. You got to pay attention to who your grandkids are around. You got to pay attention. In other words, you got to keep your head on a swivel at all times. And that's just what it is. We got 137 people in the building. Wait, we got a gift. Oh, I'm sorry. Allen, 9720. Appreciate you for the gift. You know, if you ain't been with me on this walk down, I run 3 miles, I walk another 1.25 miles, and I just be walking and talking, and I'm paying attention to what's going on around me, and I be missing some of the comments and some of the gifts. So Allen 9700, thank you for the gift. You're an amazing person. Thank you for joining the show. I appreciate you. So we got 116 people in the building. I must announce, guys, once we get to 10,000 subscribers, we're doing a Cash App giveaway. 3 things are going to happen. Once we get to 10K subs, we're doing the Cash App giveaway. We're changing the name of the channel, and then I'm going to start bringing people up. We're going to start bringing up 5, 6 people at a time, you know, so we can have a conversation and we can talk, you know, because I'm in the business of learning. I want to learn as much as I can learn, right? That's my goal. Just because I'm the host, that don't mean I know everything. I don't want to know everything. I'm in the business of learning. So that's what we got to understand about this channel. This is the Freedom of Speech channel. I'm just the host, the one and only Stock Sniper. And guess what? I don't think I know it all. I don't want to know it all because we got 116 people in here right now. And I want to learn something from y'all. That's why when we get to 10K subs, 3 things are going to happen. Number 1, Cash App giveaway. Number 2, we're going to change the name of the channel. And then number 3, I'm going to start bringing up some of you, I'm going to start bringing up smart men and women of all walks of life, 5 or 6 at a time. And we're going to have good conversations because I'm in the business of learning. That's what we got to understand about this channel and about me, the Stock Sniper. I'm a very good learner, chat. I'm a very good learner, and then I'm a very good teacher. You cannot be a good teacher if you're not a very good learner. And that's what we got to understand. In the business of learning. Amen, brother, that's right. I am the bars. I'm in the business of learning. Chat, you got 1 in 10,000 chance to win. Might as well play the lottery. No, it don't work like that. Because 10,000 people ain't gonna be in the live. You gotta understand that. Once I put it into subscriber only mode, it might be about 30 people in here. I gave away $300 before, 500. So you never know. Because how I do it, I put it in subscriber only mode, and it beat 20 or 30 people in the live. You know, that's how it works. And then, you know, that's how it go. You never know. So don't think I just got through talking about it, thinking negative. You might be one of the ones. So you gotta look at it like that. And it's fun. It's fun, you know, giving away money to the people that support the channel. It's fun. So we gotta look at it like that. So I think I'm gonna end it right here, chat. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel right now and cut on all notification bells so you'll know whenever we go live. Man, I went live today celebrating Jesse Jackson, a 5-hour live. And now we're doing the walk down. I still got to put the work in, chat. I still got to run. I still got to exercise. I still got to do what I do. But now I got a little bit more motivation because we had a good celebration today. And it just, you know, refueled my tank. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. Earn, spend less, make proper investments. Teach it to your kids and grandkids. Teach it to the people in your circle, and then teach it to the world. I love and I appreciate y'all, chat. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to cut on notification bells. To the next one. I love y'all, chat. I'm out.